Welcome back to our virtual masterclass. Today we'll be doing Taste of Asia. So we'll be doing sushi, wontons, and dumplings. I will hand over to Chef Donovan and he'll get us started with the process of cooking our rice, and I will take off the day after.
Hi guys, thanks for joining us again for your masterclass. So where we're going to start today is we're going to start with making the sushi rice, because obviously you're going to need that for later. Today we're going to be bouncing off each other, Chef Nadia and myself. She will then show you how to do the filling for the wontons, and then we'll get back to the rice again. So to start off your rice dish, you're going to need the 375 grams of sushi rice. So sushi rice is a smaller rice and it's very starchy. So before you start cooking your rice, you should actually give it a good rinse, right, to release all of its starches, right? And then I'm just going to transfer the sushi rice to my pot. And then I'm going to ladle some hot water, all right? For this rice here, we don't cook it like your standard rice. We just need the water to barely cover the rice. We need to then build up the starchiness in the rice. So about a 1 centimeter layer above the rice, and then we're going to get that going. So what I want to do, we're going to start off the rice, let it boil for a while. We're going to give it 1 or 2 stirs. And then after that, we're going to turn down our stove to barely a simmer, and we're going to cover it to steam the rice. So this rice wants to be steamed and not actually boiled. Okay. Chef Nadia, do you want to show us one of your tricks there?
Okay. So I will be showing you guys how to roll out your pastry. I have recommended that you guys pre-make your dough. So it should be looking like this. Your consistency should be smooth. It's just basically water, flour. You can add egg to it. And you want a smooth consistency. You don't want any flour patches in between. It needs to be nice and stretchy. So when you roll it out, you can actually manipulate the pastry and you can fold it in the way you want to. So what I'm going to do, about a tablespoon of dough or a teaspoon, depending on the size that you want your wontons to be shaped as. So what I'll do is just roll out a little ball. Okay, you're going to press it flat. So it should look like a little circle like that. Okay, dust your surface lightly with flour. You don't want to overuse flour when you're making your wontons. You still want to keep the moisture in your dough. Okay. You pass me the rolling pin, Chef.
So Chef Nadia, it's all like we've been saying all along. We've been using ingredients that you've got in your pantry. So basic wontons, flour, water. That's all you need.
So I've got a little mini rolling pin because I work in a really awesome kitchen. But any size rolling pin will be fine. So as you're rolling, just remember to rotate your disc so that you maintain that round shape. Okay, as you're rolling, it stretches out. Okay, you want to keep rotating because that maintains the shape. Okay, so far that's what it looks like. I am going to go a bit further than this. Okay. If you want, you can roll it out into a flat or triangular shape, and then you can cut it into little squares, and then you can fold it from there, or you can go round like this. You want a nice thin, I'm not sure if you guys will be able to see how thin it is, but you want a nice thin consistency, so when you do actually fry it or put it into your soup, that it will cook very quickly and float to the surface. Okay, so Chef Donovan will be taking over from me. He will be showing you how to do your dumpling filling.
Okay. Thanks, Chef Nadia. So your dough consistency, you want actually to be thin enough so that it's not floury, right? But you also want it to be thick enough so that you don't lose any of your filling. Now I've just turned it back to my rice and I'm giving it a stir. If we need at this stage to add a little bit more water for the cooking, we can. So I'm just going to add one more ladle just for the steaming, and then you guys can turn down your heat. Okay. So let's make that 2 ladles. Remember, you don't want to put too much water. You want your rice to just cook towards the end. So
what texture are we looking for here?
Okay. We're looking for al dente, basically. Al dente means to the bite. The word sounds like dentures, so that's something to remember, right? And we're looking, this is not a separated rice. This rice here needs to cling together. And that's why we said at the beginning it's a starchy rice. So al dente, just the bite, but you should not feel any of that hard kernel when we are done, right? So at this stage, we're going to take our lid and we're going to then set our pot to steam. Don't worry, there's enough water in there for the rice not to burn, but just keep an eye. If you need to add liquid, we can then. Earlier on, I think it took about 20 minutes, and then the rice is steamed. So that's your steamed rice. I'm going to show you the mixture later on that you will add to that to give it the flavor. Okay. So we're going to move on to our beef dumpling filling. Right?
Let me grab a pan for
Yeah. So I'll give you guys a minute to grab your pans. We need to set it onto a medium heat because now we're going to saute our ingredients. Our ingredients as follows. You've got your garlic, ginger, spring onion. Then we've got some mushrooms finely chopped. Guys, any flavor or any type of mushroom is fine. Which ones do we have here, Chef Nadia?
We have some shiitake mushrooms, just to stick to our theme.
Okay. Then I've got some finely shredded pak choy.
Alternative would be napa cabbage or Chinese cabbage.
Chinese cabbage, quite fine. Just set up my heat. So you want your pan on a medium heat. I'm going to add a little bit of butter to my pan. Go.
You just need to double check your heat, Chef.
Thank you, Chef Nadia, for double checking me. There we go, heat is on. So I'm just going to melt down that butter. Put it around the pan. So Chef Nadia, what's the inspiration around today's masterclass?
Okay, so we went with the Asian theme because both Chef Donovan and myself has a fond liking for the cuisine. So we decided just to show a bit of ourselves and what we love eating, what we love cooking. It's not traditional, that I can guarantee, but we always add a bit of ourselves into the dishes that we do make. So this is just us showing you what we have, what we like, and adding our special twist to it. So all the traditional Asian chefs out there, please don't kill us. This is just our version of the dishes.
Yes. And if you guys know me, you should know me now after our 5 masterclasses we've had there. I'm a half-an-hour cook. So anything that's quick and easy, that's me. I was so inspired last night, Chef Nadia, that I actually went to go make myself a wonton bowl. I just got up in the middle of the night, got my chicken broth on, some chili, some coriander, some ginger, and then I just put some noodles in there and I had a nice little bowl of noodles.
And comfort food as well, guys. Just when you're busy working, you've got long hours going on, one bowl of this, you'll feel so comfortable, you'll feel so happy, and it will motivate you to carry on working.
Okay. So you want to get the aroma going. I can smell nice ginger, nice garlic, spring onions. This stage, when we've got them all softened, I'm going to put in my next aromatic, which will be my chili. Now, I like a lot of chili. This is to your taste, right? You can omit the chili if you don't like chili. I like a little bit of a kick to my food as well.
Okay, so your recipe does say 2 chilies, but this recipe is for a family meal. We are preparing for 1 bowl. So I hope you guys are making this for your family tonight for dinner. Please let us know how it goes.
Okay. So at this stage, I've got all my nice fragrances going. I'm going to then add my beef mince.
Chef, we have a question from Jackie.
Yes,
She
Jackie.
wants to know just if you could recap of what you added into the pan.
Okay, so in the beginning there, I added some butter to the pan, medium heat. And what I've got in there is some ginger, some garlic, and some spring onion. I sauteed that for a while, and then I added my chili. Now I've got some beef mince. And what I'm doing now by constantly stirring is I want to get a good color on all the sides of the mince. I want the mince to pick up all that color. Okay. And then also to add to that ingredient, we've got the shiitake mushrooms that I'm going to add to the beef mince. And then also your pak choy, or you can use Chinese cabbage or whitloaf lettuce, also fine. Baby spinach, very nice as well.
Yeah, any leafy green vegetable would be fine to add there as well. We have a comment from Terry. She says she wish she could smell what we are doing.
Yeah, if only we had smell-o-vision, guys. You don't know what this food is doing to me right now. I'm sure the ladies from the Herald will agree. They're all salivating over here.
Let's actually join them a little closer. They're all the way at the back of the kitchen.
Yeah, and they're getting closer and closer. Okay. Guys, there's a reason to my madness because I didn't add my shiitake and my green leafy vegetables. I like things to be nice and fresh and crisp. If you're going to add your green leafy vegetable too early, it's going to wilt down and then the color will change and you'll get a stringy sort of cabbage. I like it to be fresh and crispy. So I'm just going to wait for my mince to color. I hope you guys are up to speed.
Very quiet.
Yeah.
We also like a bit of crunch. I think any meal that you guys go out to and have at a restaurant, you'll find different textures on your plate. Crunchiness of your cabbage. You've got the different flavors and aromatics going on there. So there's at least a few elements on your plate. And that's what chefs love putting out there. So I'm sure you guys can do that at home as well. Okay.
So now, Chef Nadia, I've got a bit of color all around on my mince there. You don't want to completely dry out your mince because you have got a second cooking process with the steaming of the dumpling. So this is basically just partially cooking it because we need to cook the beef mince a little bit longer. Pork is a different story. It cooks very fast. And that's why we're not cooking the pork version beforehand. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and then add my last 2 ingredients, which is my mushroom, nice earthy mushrooms, and then give it a toss.
So you can see various textures in the pan, crunchiness, some goodiness from the mushroom, softness from the mint.
And then Chef Nadia, what are my liquids that I'm going to add to this? Yeah.
Okay. So a liquid will be some light soy sauce, sesame oil, and some oyster sauce. So remember, those are very salty elements. So you need to use the accurate measurements that was given to you so that you make sure there's not too much salt. And also after adding, you can check your seasoning. Just don't add salt before tasting. Make sure you taste before adding salt.
In a lot of Asian cooking, you don't actually add salt because all your saltiness comes from your soys. Okay.
And your oyster.
So just a bit of oyster sauce, some soy sauce, and then some sesame. Sesame is one of my favorite flavors, Chef Nadia. I like the earthiness. Okay. So I'm just going to mix that in on the heat, just to incorporate all the flavors through my mince. Remember that this is going to be a stuffing. That's the reason why we don't completely.
We fold our wontons while that mixture is slightly off, Chef.
Sure. Last part of the question. Sorry.
Your mince mixture is still a bit warm.
You don't want a warm mixture, otherwise it's going to seep through your dough and your bun will actually break. So you don't want to use a warm mixture. We need things to cool down. Okay. So Chef Nadia, I'm just going to check on my rice now, guys. So it's steaming quite nice there. Just check the bottom. If it is sticking, not sticking, nice and fluffy, right? And then I'll check for textures in about 5 minutes or so. So while that is cooling down, Chef Nadia, we can do some folding of dumplings and then also your pork mixture.
Yes, I'll be doing the filling for our wonton soup or our wontons. And I'll just wipe down the station.
Sure.
Okay, so for our wonton filling, we're keeping it raw. Like Chef Donovan said, it cooks very quickly. So I've got some pork mince. I've got some chopped up prawn meat, which I'll add to that. Okay, you want to make sure that you mix everything through. So while you're mixing, press your mixture down so that you break everything down a little bit. That also helps with the cooking process by breaking your proteins down and just mixing it through. Okay, now I'll just grab my basket over here.
Chef, you can tell me to pass things for you. I'm fine.
Okay, so I've got some chopped garlic and ginger in here.
So that's chopped garlic and ginger.
Okay, some spring onion, please, Chef.
Okay, spring onion.
Which is also finely chopped up. Just toss it in there. And then my soy sauce, please.
Okay.
So this one is fairly simple because we're going to be putting it in a broth that has a lot of flavor in it. So you don't want to overpower your filling. You don't want too much flavors floating around. Just want to keep it simple, keep it light, easy to eat.
They're quite strong flavors, so you'll taste that in your dumpling. Okay, I'll just move to that side, Chefy.
Add it in. Okay, so you'll see your liquid. My liquid was some soy sauce and some sesame oil. So you want that color visible. You want everything mixed through. Make sure it is mixed through thoroughly so that everything is coated nicely with all the flavors.
Must say my rice is steaming pretty good.
Yeah, it's
swelling
looking
up
really
nicely.
good. Light, fluffy, sticky. Okay, so this should be your end product. Okay, everything coated, smells really good. Lots of aromatics going on.
Is there a set rule of how to fold dumplings or?
Okay, so just make sure that when you do fold your dumplings, you don't want to put too much filling because when you do cook it, it tends to fall out or burst out. So you need to also make sure that you seal it nicely and you just want just enough. So when you bite, this is a 2-bite meal. So when you do bite into it, you get a little bit of everything when you bite into it.
Okay.
Okay, so we have pre-made our pastry and we've cut them into little squares.
Okay.
Okay, I'll try and
Balance there.
yeah. So just a little bit in the center, not too much.
Remember, guys, don't overfill your wontons because you still need to fold them.
Yeah. So just about a half a teaspoon in the center. Okay, make sure you have a bowl of water on the side. And you're just going to dip it along the edges.
Okay, so that helps the pastry seal. So you need just plain old water is fine.
And what I'll do it corner to corner. Okay. Then you need to press from the center out. You want no air pockets. Okay. So press it out firmly.
It looks very similar to our ravioli that we made, Chef.
Yes, very similar. We all connected somehow. Every nation we connected. Okay. So you can see over there, you've got a nice little triangle. You're filling in the center. There's no air pockets. Just you're filling to escape. Okay. So then what I'm going to do is just a little bit on the edge. Okay, so I'm going to fold it back. Press in the center a little bit. And just wrap it so that you've got your little wonton. And that's what it should look like.
Okay. And very similar to the Italian cappelletti,
Yes.
the little cap, right? So similar fold there as well. I'm going to show you something called the pinch fold, right? So same procedure there. I'm going to put some filling. I want to make sure that I've got a little bit of everything. Nicely in the center there. Then you're going to run the water around the edges. And then what you must do then, same procedure like Chef Nadia, you start in the center. And then we're going to use a pleating technique to get the sides to the center from the one side. Then same on the other side. Use your index finger as a pushing mechanism, right? And we're going to pinch very tightly so that we can get a nice little parcel
Like a little money bag.
like a little money bag, right? In Chinese culture, it's all about wealth, and food is connected to wealth and things like that. So these little money bags, very good at festivals and things like that.
Traditional ceremonies.
Okay.
Okay, Chef, I've got some questions. For the filling for the wontons, can I substitute the salt or the soy sauce by adding some fish sauce?
Fish sauce also quite salty, yes. If you like that sort of flavor as well, it's not very easy for everyone, but yes, fish sauce will do the trick as well. Don't forget you've got your hoisin sauce, your oyster sauce. They all sort of, if you don't want to use soy, then you can. And then you also get the low sodium version of soy as well, where there's not as much salt.
Yes. And there's some comments. Moira says that it's a skill she definitely wants to learn. YouTube, Moira, or you can watch this video over and over.
Watch this video over and over. Guys, it is very simple. I'm going to do a similar fold to what Chef Nadia has done as well. This time I'm going to fold it into sort of how you would fold a spring roll.
I think the best part about wontons is just playing around with the folds, experimenting, finding out how talented you actually are.
Yeah, and it's all about the imagination, guys. Okay, so this time I want to put my filling more towards the top, but leaving the corners open there. Same procedure, going to wet with some water. And then I'm going to do my first fold over, same as for spring rolls. Then just make sure that everything is completely moist. And we're going to leave all these three corners open so that when you fold, you can then fold them over that way, and then you've got an automatic fold on the other side as well. Right. So also a little basket there.
Thank you, Chef.
Okay. I can sort of move on to my rice now, guys. So by now, your rice should be nice and fluffy.
Chef Donovan is busy doing his rice with you guys, I'll carry on with some more wontons.
Chef Nadia, can I just maybe do the last section of this here so that the guys' rice can chill? Okay. So you want to transfer your rice to a bowl. Because we need to chill the rice as well. Like Chef Nadia said earlier on, we don't put hot mixtures into little parcels. So nice, loose, fluffy rice. And then while it's hot, guys, you need 2 tablespoons of rice wine vinegar. Rice wine vinegar is, for me, the best flavor to use for making sushi. If you don't have rice wine vinegar, rice wine is fine. And then also standard vinegar will also be fine. Right, so 2 tablespoons of rice wine vinegar, and then 1 tablespoon of sugar. Okay. So depending on the type of rice that you buy, some of the sushi rices are already sweet. So you don't need to add the sugar. So it's best when it comes out of the pot that you do taste your rice for sweetness. Otherwise, it becomes overly sweet. You want more of a sort of, can I say a sour sort of taste? Right?
Like
Instead of a sweet
sour
taste. Sweet sour. And that's the flavors that you want. Okay?
Okay, I've got a question from Terry, and she wants to know how hard it is to make your pastry.
It is not difficult at all. Yeah. Basically, you wouldn't need this. There's no need to need, pardon the pun, no need to need, guys. Basically, you're just going to make your dough into a paste, and you'll see it come together quite easily and becomes elastic. Once that paste is done, you literally just set it to rest for about 30 minutes. That's it.
Plain simple. Water, flour. My recipe is normally about 80 grams of flour, so about 40 grams of water. And you just mix it up till you have that dough consistency. You let it rest for 15 minutes, smear it out for about 1 minute, just to let that moisture get in there and release all your gluten. Let it rest for another 30 minutes, and then you can start rolling out and you can start putting your filling in and folding.
Okay. So my rice is ready to chill. So I'll just put a bit of cling wrap on that bowl there and then set it aside in the fridge just to chill for the next step. While Chef Nadia then shows you the folding of the wontons.
Okay, so I've done quite a bit. So what I can actually do is actually continue with the broth. Chef Donovan, do you mind passing me our broth?
Sure, Chef Nadia.
This too is a very quick, easy recipe. So you can use convenience stock. We've got the inner farmer from Checkers. So about 2 teaspoons of that to about 250 ml of water would give you 1 portion.
Okay. Very nice stock. Smells of chicken. Very little oil residue on there. Yes. So it's one of the better stocks there. Nice chicken broth.
You want a nice, good quality stock. You don't want it to be too salty. Yeah, so stick to a low sodium stock if you can find one of them. Okay, can I get the heat on here?
Sure.
So for my broth, what I'm going to do, I still have some shiitake mushrooms. So I've just sliced them up fairly big. Just going to toss them in there. I've got some spring onions. I've cut them quite big. Don't need to be specific with your size. It's just when you do strain it that you just want the pieces to be out. So it's better to go big than very small.
And it's best to cut them on the bias. It just gives a nice visual appeal as well to your dish.
And then I've got 1 to 1.5 garlic cloves. You can keep them whole. If you want, you can basically just take one back of your hand, a nice firm press, just to bash it, and then you release so much more flavor when cooking. Okay, So you've got your stock, your mushrooms, your spring onion. You're going to let that simmer. You don't want it to boil. So simmer means very small bubbles coming up from the bottom. You just want all the flavors to be released. If you boil it, it will reduce your liquid and you won't get all that flavor that you actually want in your stock.
Yeah, so the secret basically there is slowly extracting all your flavors from your ingredients. And that's why we would say simmer and do not boil. It's something we call steeping as well. It just allows all the flavors to then go into your broth and pick up every little bit that you've put in there.
That's great, Chef.
Okay.
So you're going to move on to your sushi?
Yes, so now I'm going to do some preparations or pre-preparation for sushi. So I'll get my cutting board there. Okay. So for my filling, we've got some pre-cooked prawns. Then I've also got avocado. So for avocado, you just want to slice it in half there, give it a twist. And then dangerous part. To remove the seed, you just chop with your knife, give it a twist, and then
Release.
The stone actually comes out. Okay. Go. Easiest way to slice, guys, is if you leave it in the actual peel. So I'll show you that way first. Be careful not to slice right through. And you want nice sizing on that as well.
Make sure you have a nice firm avocado. You want it soft, but not too soft. Because if you do cut into it, it tends to get a little mushy and you want nice.
Yeah, you want
balanced.
to mimic sort of a meat or a protein, right? So nice firm avocado. And these ones are very nice, Chef, that we found at Checkers.
Yes.
Okay. So a couple of slices there in the skin. And then I just cut off the tip there.
Okay. And then, hi, Claudia. The pastry does not have to be square. It can be round. I will show you how to fold a round wonton as well as soon as Chef Donovan is done with the sushi.
So what I've done is I've just scored the peel down the center. Be careful with your sharp knives, guys. And it's quite easy to then release. The other thing that you can do is you can then just scoop out the whole thing with a tablespoon by moving your spoon between the skin and the flesh.
I think that's one of the easiest ways to actually just remove your avocado from the skin.
Some guys do it whole. I've cheated a little bit because
Yes.
I've got pre-cut avocado now. There we go. So mine's pre-cut, Chef. I don't need to slice
You don't
anymore.
need to slice, you don't need to do any hard labor anymore.
Right. So I've got my pre-cut avocado there. So doing sushi, the longest process is actually the preparation of the fillings.
Yes.
You know what my hardest part is, Chef?
Not sure.
Is wrapping the mats in cling wrap. So that's the thing.
Something so simple.
That's the thing I hate. Yeah, 30-minute chef. I don't like a lot of fuss. It takes too long to cling wrap your sushi mats. So that's the worst part about making sushi for me. Okay, so I've got some prawns. I've got my avocado. I've got rice that I've cooked earlier, nice and chilled. Right. Then you guys are going to need nori sheet, and this is made from seaweed. Right. I'm going to be doing ones with half a sheet. I'm also going to slice some cucumber now. So I want to cut my cucumber in manageable pieces. So don't cut myself, Chef Nadia.
Yes. Manageable, basically something that fits into your hand comfortably. And then you're probably going to square it off, Chef.
I'm going to square it off, which means now I can turn it on either side and by slicing and peeling at the same time. It's a nice sharp knife. You're looking for nice thin slices.
I've got, hi Camille. Once Chef Donovan is done with his sushi, I will do a demonstration on how to fold your wonton with round pastry.
Okay. So you can do little buns with your round pastry. You can actually leave it open, but that is basically for the steamer. If you're doing something like pot stickers or so, you want a sealed wonton.
Yes.
So put some slices there, thinly sliced. Right. And then the rest there, I'm just going to cut a couple of julienne slices. Okay. So a couple of sticks and then some thinly sliced ones as well.
And preferably thin slices, not rounds, because it would be a bit difficult doing your sushi with rounds instead of slices.
Okay. Okay. So it's all about preparation. Got all my things in place there.
Is it always best to prep before rolling, Chef, or can we run in between?
I would not suggest running in between because it's going to take a longer time for you to finish your sushi if you're going to prep and then make another one and then prep and make another one. So it's best to prep all your ingredients, cut carrots if you have to, cut your salmon, everything ready for rolling. Okay. So now I'm ready to roll, Chef Nadia. Sounds
rolling.
okay. Or do you want to roll?
Chef, you are the expert in sushi today, not me.
Okay. So I found an interesting product at Checkers when I was shopping. Guys, this will take a lot of time out of your lives. It is actually sushi rice that is pre-cooked and sold on the shelf. So all you have to do is then start your rolling. Isn't that cool?
That's amazing. I did not know about this product. I did not know it was available. I've been cooking sushi rice forever.
So that's a product that they have available. I'll be using my rice. Feels quite nice, nice gluten in there.
Very
I'd
sticky.
maybe just looking at it, warm it up slightly before you use it, just to loosen up the grains. Thank you. So I've got a covered bamboo mat, right? So your bamboo mat basically helps you with rolling. And we've covered it with cling wrap. And that is to keep it not only hygienic, but easy to remove as well. Right? So your bamboo mat, and then I've just nicely covered it. You see, like covering kids' books. That's the part I don't like. Okay. So I'm going to make a smaller version today. So I'll be using half a seaweed. Okay. They make it nice and easy. I don't know if you guys can see there. The seaweed is actually perforated already. So if you need just that piece, you can then tear through. Right.
So which one will you be making, Chef? What's your first sushi roll?
Okay, my first sushi roll is going to be maki. Okay. So basically, maki is where you are going to see the seaweed on the outside of your actual roll. And then the second one, I think I'm going to be making California roll. Right? California roll, you do the reverse.
Okay. So we've chosen these two specifically just so that it's easy for you guys at home. It's simple, not technical. And I think as you get familiar with rolling sushi and you get more comfortable, you can then play around with the rest of the other sushi family members.
Yes. And look, guys, like Chef Nadia confessed there, we make it up as we go, right? So shapes and sizes there, as long as it's nice to eat,
Yes.
I think it's fine. And we stick to the basic principles. So remember the bowl of water Chef Nadia had earlier on? Drop some lemon juice in there. Your hands need to be moist at all times there to release the rice from your hands, right? So I'm going to then start with a little mound. You don't want to take too much at a time. Right? And we need to then place it away from the edge of the seaweed. So we're starting away from the edge, but we want to push it towards the outer edges. Okay? And we need to then fill the whole sushi sheet and then sticking away from the edge at the bottom. You also don't want to go too thick because then it becomes clumpy and you won't actually have your ingredients in the center. I'm just going to, remember, don't squeeze too hard. You don't want it to be too tight as well. Nice, eh? It reminds me of being kids there making, playing in the mud. Yeah, but this is nice mud, Chef.
Yes.
Nice mud. Okay. Go. Last little bit. You're going to see why it's important now not to go to the edge. You need to fold over. Just going to move this up slightly. Okay. So I just want a nice even layer away from the edges there. Guys are quiet. Are you
quiet.
all with me?
I think they're focusing.
Okay. So I'll give you a while to get your rice onto your nori sheet. Okay.
Avocados that we got today.
Okay. And then I'm going to take some of my cucumber strips. Also place it down. I like some color, Chef. How's about if we put some shrimp in there?
Let's go for it.
Let's go for it. Okay. So I've got some nice prawn meat, and we're going to do the same. Remember, don't overfill, otherwise you won't be able to roll.
Jackie, your rice, when touching it, should be not too warm. So it should be cold to the touch. It shouldn't be, if you touch it, you should be able to withstand the heat on the rice.
Making sushi, guys, is mostly about temperature control and keeping the food safe. So if you were to make it when it's warm and you haven't chilled it correctly, you might do some food poisoning.
Yes.
So it's best to chill your rice before. If it is a temperature that can then go straight into the fridge after, that should still be fine. Okay. So what you want to do, place your thumb behind the mat. The first roll is always the most difficult roll because you have to hold on to the food, right? And tuck that in. And as you're tucking in, you're going to roll the mat forward so that it closes. Right? Okay. And you're going to hold the mat with that hand there and then guide it towards the front. And then once you are happy that you've now covered your whole roll, you're going to cover with the mat. Then you're going to tighten, squeeze, squeeze, and then you're going to start shaping.
You guys see why I said Chef Donovan is a sushi expert. He has all the patience in the world to do this.
Okay, some more shaping there. Nice even shapes. And that squeezing there, make sure that your filling is in the center and make sure that your roll is now ready to cut. Right. Chef, can I have my board? Okay. Guys are there. So you see there's some uneven edges there. Don't worry about that. We can always neaten that up. So I'm going to trim first. Trim. You know where the waistband is, eh, Chef?
Yes, in your mouth.
Right.
We don't waste.
Waste not, what not. Okay. So when you have it nicely trimmed there, you then need to determine your size. So the easiest way for me, I like to cut mine in 4. So I've got a nice height. And it's easier to count, guys.
So preferably half first.
Half first, and then half of that, and then half of that. Right. So I'm going to slice through the middle. You don't want to squeeze too hard, guys. You don't want to mush down. But if you've got a nice tight roll, then it's quite easy. Okay. Even sizes, and then down the middle again, and whoops. And then we have our first lot of sushi roll. There you go.
Good, Chef.
Thank you, Chef. And that's how you usually place them. As you cut them, you keep the colors the same, and then they should make a nice pattern. Okay. So the next one, almost exactly the same. It's just that we're going to start with our rice, and then we're going to follow with our seaweed. Okay. So this time, you don't want to worry about the edges. You are going to fill your sushi mat, approximately the size of your sushi sheet. This time you want the rice to actually go to the edge. Okay, so I'm going to give it a measure there, Chef.
No problem. So while Chef Donovan is measuring, I'm going to get the water on the go for steaming of our dumplings.
Okay. Okay. So I'm going to place my nori sheet down. Start again with my rice. Remember, this time we're going to the edges. Then I've made enough rice.
Okay, so the simple technique is basically doing the same procedure, and then we're going to flip it upside down.
Yes, I'm going to flip it upside down. I'm going to do a special flip, Chef.
Okay. No back flips, please, guys. We're in the kitchen.
Kitchen gymnastics. Okay. So I want it to go to the edges. Maybe don't squeeze too hard, but you want to stretch out. Yeah. Now my special flip, Chef.
Yes. Enlighten me.
My special flip just involves some seeds. So I've got black sesame seeds and some white sesame seeds. You can lightly toast them if you want. I like the bright colors. Yeah. So I'm going to then sprinkle my board with some white sesame seeds. And then in between, sprinkle with some black sesame seeds. And this you can get at your aisle with your nuts and seeds. Right. Then,
these are also available at Checkers. They supplied most of our ingredients for today's masterclass.
okay, so now this is my flip, Chef. Flip it onto the sesame seeds. Right.
Best flip I've seen for the day.
Thank you. I'm here all day. And then you can see that it's now attached itself to the rice. And then we're going to flip the rice side back onto our little bamboo. Okay. Chef, what fillings would you like?
Let's go with exactly the same.
Same. Okay.
It is our favorite of all.
Just get that cloth, Jeffy.
Yeah.
Okay. So now I want more pink. All right. I'm a sucker for seafood, chef. And remember, it can be anything. If you're vegetarian, you don't have to put the fish in. You can actually have some blanched carrots, also very nice, or thinly sliced carrots for a nice crunch.
And with times changing, I think people have ventured out. I know I've seen some cream cheese and strawberries at some places.
Yes.
Have you seen anything unique?
Look, like I told you, adventurous. So I'll even go your cream cheese ham, if I must. Yeah. Right. So we're taking sandwiches to the next level. We're putting it into sushi. My students made a version of it. We call it Zulu sushi, right? So what we did was we took our cornmeal or corn flour, which is your polenta.
Yes.
And we actually use that as a rice base. And then for our actual nori, we then used pancetta or kudu slivers, and that was our skin, right? So anything goes, right? So guys, remember the procedure?
Sorry, Chef.
Okay. So the first one, you're going to hold onto your ingredients for your first roll. And then you're going to continue rolling, moving your mat to the front, firming it out. Squeeze.
I think this is a very important step so that you can just make sure when you do cut into it that it's stable.
Doesn't fall apart, yeah. And I'm making round, guys. This mat here folds in many different ways. You can do triangles as well. I just like the original round version.
And it's just easier to get like a good bite into your mouth.
There we have a different looking one now, Chef, eh?
Yes.
Okay. So you see why it was important for the rice to cover the whole sheet? Because the rice is actually now your view. Okay. I'm just going to, again, out the center, cut through, down the center, cut through. Hi, what's up with this cloth? Okay. And then we have 4 more different looking.
Can we maybe just do another cut just to show our viewers another size? Okay,
so now I'm going to make a smaller version then, Chef. Different way of cutting. You can cut on the bias. Right? Don't cut from corner to corner, just leave about 1 centimeter. And in that way, when you're stacking them, that you've got a nice interest there.
Okay, so I've got a question from Kiri, and she wants to know, do we have a replica or an alternative for the prawn avalanche sushi sauce from John Dory's? So basically what they do is they use creepy mayo and they just add some sweet chili sauce into that. A cost-effective way is what we've done today, some mayonnaise and condensed milk, and then you can add that sweet chili sauce into that mixture. It tastes exactly the same.
Yeah. Just because they are shorter, I'm cutting my little California rolls a little bit shorter to place onto my plate then.
So you can see here, so that's our mixture, some mayonnaise. I normally do 2 tablespoons of mayonnaise to 2 tablespoons of condensed milk. As you stir, it becomes thick, and that's the consistency that you want.
Okay. And then another interesting fact about the Kewpie mayonnaise, when you're making standard mayonnaise, guys, you are using whole eggs and oil. For the Kewpie mayonnaise, it actually is just your egg yolk. So you're going to use yolks, and that's why it's so rich and creamy and so yummy, Chef.
And you just maybe garnish with some sesame.
Okay. Some sesame seeds as a garnish. And then some fresh leaves there of coriander, chef.
Okay. This is just adding our own touch to it. Like we said in the beginning, it's not traditional. It's our own version.
But some of them are topped with a bit of Kewpie mayonnaise or homemade Kewpie mayonnaise, your standard mayonnaise with a little bit of condensed milk. Then I've got some plain soy sauce. I've made some wasabi, wasabi powder available at your Asian stores. And then all you have to do is then put some vinegar in there and mix it up. And then I've got some pickled ginger there. Right. And that is to enjoy while Chef Nadia puts you on to the next journey.
Okay. So I'm going to be completing our wonton soup. Okay. So our broth has been going for quite some time. Not sure if you guys will see the color. No? Yeah. So that's the color you're looking for. Okay, so let's just get it back on the heat. Okay, so you want it nice and hot. You can pop your wontons in there. Add Chef Donovan's money bag. Okay, so I've got a few in there. Okay, then what I've done already, I've got some garnish in a bowl. So I've got some shiitake mushrooms, coriander, spring onion, and bok choy. So the reason I've got it in here is that when I do add my liquid, it will actually cook it. So make sure that your liquid is very hot when you add it to your garnish so that it can cook through a little bit. And this will also add some texture to your dish.
And broths, you usually, if it's a clear broth, you usually garnish first on your plate, and it gives it a nice look as well. Because if you're going to add anything heavy to your broth, it's going to sink to the bottom anyway. So this just ensures that your ingredients cook and you have a nice looking dish as well.
Chef Donovan, would you mind demoing how to do a round dumpling?
Sure.
I will just be on this side.
Okay. Are we using your dough? Okay. Okay. Let me just get a cloth there, Chefy. Thank you. Trying to get my surface clean. So what I want to do is I want to dust with some flour, and that is to shape our wontons. Some of Chef Nadia's beautiful soft dough. I'm just taking about a tablespoon, Chef?
Yes, tablespoon, teaspoon, depending on the size, like I said in the beginning.
I'm just going to make little balls. I've got another trick, Chef here. If I can just get one of the students to give me a standard pot.
Okay, so currently my broth is on a simmer, and 2 or 3 of my wontons is close to the top already. So that's when you know that they're almost done. I like to leave it in a little bowl, yeah, just to make sure that everything is cooked. So I'll leave it in for another 2 minutes, just to make sure, because it's pork and fish. So we just want to make sure that it's cooked through.
Okay, so my trick, Chefy. So I've been doing backflips, now I'm going to do magic, right? I'm just dusting the bottom of a saucepan with some flour. You can put some cling wrap over there, right? So it's already round. So if you want it round there, all you then do is, and then you've got a little circle there. Okay, that's if you don't have any rolling pins at all. Okay.
If you have no rolling pin, glass bottle will work perfectly as well.
So I'm just going to roll it out nice and round. I'm going to do a couple before I start filling. You guys can fill now with your beef filling. It should be cold and cool by now.
So all my wontons is floated to the top. So what I'm doing is just placing them in the bowl first.
So is that a tell the same like we did the pasta, chef? If it's close to the top, is it cooked?
Exactly the same method.
Okay. So we do borrow some things from other countries, eh? Okay.
I've got a good serving. I've got about 4. This dish is quite filling. Okay, so I'm going to scoop the broth. You can use some of the mushrooms that you've cooked in there, or you can strain it off.
Chef, I've got some sprouts for you.
Thank you,
just
Chef.
to garnish. So basically, they just bean sprouts, chickpea sprouts, lentil sprouts. You can do your own sprouts at home there. Just a little bit of water in a jar. Every day you can rinse them, and then the beans or the lentils will sprout. And 3 days later, I think that's the result there. Nice, fresh, earthy flavors.
Okay, and then that's what your bowl of wonton soup should look like.
Can you guys smell it? Can you
I
smell
can.
it?
It smells so good.
Okay.
People are even closer to the station than they were before.
Okay. So now I've got a couple of my circles done, guys. I'm going to use some of my beef filling, and I'm going to just place it in the center. Then I'm basically going to use my hand as a mold. Just going to wet slightly. And then I'm just going to fold the dough around the filling. I've got a nice steaming pot of water for my bamboo steamer. And I'm going to place, Chef Nadia, do I need to place anything onto my bamboo steamer?
You can, Chef. You can use cabbage. You can use cling wrap. You can, but just make sure that you poke some holes through your cling wrap. You can use parchment paper. You can even use your mat so that you just make sure that it doesn't stick to the surface.
Okay.
What I like to do is just maybe take some oil and just lightly brush the bottom of the steamer.
Okay.
Do you mind, Chef? Just a little bit, and you just coat it lightly so that it does not stick.
Guys, if you don't have a bamboo steamer at home, your colander, your rice colander, quite fine. Just put down some cabbage leaves or leftover pak choy or anything that will make it not stick. But remember that you need the perforation there for the steam to then get to your dish. There we go. Let me just do another one. Be quiet on the other side, Chefy.
Yes, I'm reading all the comments, Chef.
Okay.
So we've got Kerry that says it's really yum. It looks good. We've got Kerry again. She's the most active on here.
I like Kerry.
She can't believe that everything we're doing can be done in the time that we are doing it.
Magic.
Her mouth, Zoe's mouth is watering right now. And then Kerry would like to know, could you use one of those steamers that fit on a pot?
Yes.
The colander?
Any steam, the technique we're using is steaming. So anything that allows steam then to go through, that's quite okay.
Chef, do you mind just dimming a closed one for us, please?
Okay. Chef Nadia. Okay. So now I'm going to do the closed version of that.
Like the lid for your steamer?
Thank you. How long do you usually steam it for, Chef Nadia?
I'd go about 4 to 5 minutes. I just want my dough to cook through because our filling is already cooked. And because it's a thin dough, So you don't want to overcook it because then it would become really chewy.
Okay. So once again, same procedure. You're going to get a nice round piece of dough. Filling still goes in the center, Chefy. This is the one that your kids will like because they watch Kung Fu Panda. Right?
And they won't know what's actually in there. So you can actually get them vegetables.
Yeah.
Get them to eat the vegetables.
So we're gonna pinch the top, and we're gonna try and get everything towards the center. Pinch. And we're moving from one side to the other until we get the last, and then the final pinch on the top there for your round little Kung Fu Panda.
Pen. And you can use the exact same method for your wonton.
Okay. So, Chef, are we going to eat it just like that, or do we need some sauces?
Okay, so behind the scenes, we've made some sauce. Okay, so we've got some oyster sauce. We have some sesame oil, some fresh sesame seeds, fresh chili, a little bit of normal oil, just to balance it out. And we've got that as a dipping sauce.
Yeah. Just remember that all our flavors, sweet, sour, salty, and that's what you want to taste.
You can add a little bit of sugar as well, just to get that sweetness in there, or some syrup or honey, just to make sure you can balance it out nicely.
Okay. Okay. Guys, it seems we're having a bit of a technical issue here. We will be with you with the feed. Okay, we're back. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So Chefy, you were saying you guys can make any, like all the ingredients that we use now to cook with, that can be turned into sauces.
Yes.
So if you've got soy sauce, you've got rice wine vinegar, you've got chili,
sesame oil.
you've got sesame oil. Just give it a try, mix a couple of those, and then see which flavor you like. I personally like just plain soy with your sesame seed oil, and then I toast sesame seeds and then add it to there. So that's my flavor, and some chili.
Yeah. Mine is a bit of soy, so I treat it like sushi. So I'll dip it in the creepy mayo, our homemade version, and a little bit of soy, and that salt and sweetiness and the creaminess, that's the flavor that I like with my dumplings.
Okay. So I think we've got a couple more minutes for our dumplings.
Some comments, Chef. If we use cabbage leaves in the steamer, won't that change the taste of the wonton?
Not necessarily, no. It does add a slightly different flavor, but it's a good flavor.
Then Sue B says, wow, thank you so much. And then Moira, the online lessons are great, but I hope you will still have your classes at the school. Yes, we are looking into that.
I remember Moira.
Yes, me too. A regular. So next year we are looking into having our normal master classes again.
Moira, we are hoping to see you soon. We're going to have to wrap it up now.
Yes.
Our dumplings will steam, just say another 2 more minutes.
They should be done, maybe.
They look okay.
Yes. Let's go traditional.
Let me come closer. Okay. So let's do yours there, Chefy. Oops. Let's do a third one for magic.
Perfect. Okay, and that's our dumpling and a bit of garnish with the dipping sauce, guys.
And guys, we'd like to thank you for joining us once again on behalf of Three Peaks Wine, Capsicum Cooking, and then also Checkers and the Herald. Thank you very much. Moira, we're hoping to see you soon. We are going to see you soon.
Yes.
To welcome you back in our kitchen. And thank you, Chef Nadia.
Yes, thank you, guys. Our next masterclass, we'll be doing something sweet. You'll have some new faces.
Yes, I think a change is needed. I think people are tired of our old faces, Chef Nadia. No, guys, we will pop in.
Yes.
And we are going to be closer to Halloween, so look out look forward for something Halloween based and spooky.
Yes. Thanks
Okay.
again. Thank you for joining us. We hope you enjoyed it. We hope you learned a lot. And we'll see you next time. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.